Baby, can't you hear my call? I can't stand.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Sims. Welcome to Hey Now, our podcast today coming to you from Smith & Wollensky in Midtown Manhattan. We thank Ryan and the folks for their hospitality today. And today we're going to talk about college basketball tip-off week. And it started on Monday as we look at Purdue opening at number 1, Florida looking to repeat, Houston still a monster team, transfers all over the place. Man, we can talk about that for about an hour. A freshman class that is very deep, maybe even NBA ready. To help break it all down for us, a couple of guys I've known for a long time, great respect and admiration and friendship for with them. Clark Kellogg from CBS and Seth Greenberg from ESPN. What's up, fellas?
All good, Dave. Great to see you, man. Great to be with you as well, Seth.
And I got a question, Clark. Is he going to send us a gift certificate to Smith & Wollensky? So that's
I would love that. I would love that. I'm glad you put that out there, Seth. That would be a nice little get.
Hey, listen, we've covered a lot of changes since last March. The portal, NIL, revenue sharing. College hoops still feels like itself somehow. Seth, senior member of this group. The offseason shaping of rosters. Hey, we're going to have some fun here. What stands out the most about the state of the game heading into this season for you, as far as you're concerned?
You know, the most important thing about the state of the game is right now we get a chance to play games. And, we can talk about the portal and we can talk about roster construction. We can talk about the great freshmen, and they are great.
Yeah.
But in the end, all right, these coaches have had these teams starting in the summer. They had them for 8 weeks, and now they've had them obviously for about 6-7 weeks this fall. And the ball went up in the air. So, to me, and I talk to a bunch of coaches, mentor a bunch of guys. I say, I don't want to hear about the portal. I don't want to hear about the cost, the cost of doing business. I don't want to hear about, rev share. I don't want to hear about anything. Get lost in your team. Coach your teams. We got really good players and really good teams. More good teams, I would think, Clark, than we've seen in a while. We saw it just last night. I mean, last night. Arizona playing a home game in Vegas. If you play Arizona in Vegas, it's a home game against the defending national champions. All right. Game started. I don't know about you, Clark. I'm watching the first 5 minutes of that game going, Florida, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Arizona happened. They got a little more physical. They got into the guards. They disrupted the rhythm. So, to me, the biggest thing is we can get into the transfer portal. We can get into the cost of doing business. Your investment equals your expectation.
Yeah.
You want to win, you're going to have to invest. But in the end, man, the ball went up. I mean, I don't know about you, Clark, but this is what it's all about for us.
Well, to your point, Seth, I think the quality of the game is in really good shape.
Yeah.
And that's been the last several years. I know there have been seismic changes, earthquake changes when you have NIL come to the 4 and 21 and then unlimited transfers. One of those happening at one time would have been monumental. To have them both happen at the same time is seismic in terms of an earthquake. And yet, on the court, the game is terrific from the standpoint of more good teams. Just like you said, Seth, there are more quality teams. And I like the shift we're seeing with the exhibition games being public and some of the games we've seen there in terms of quality of opponent. Excellent. I think it's prepared. I watched probably 5 of last night's games this morning, and seeing the quality of play in the games that I watched, I would have to attribute some of that to the fact that these teams have already had high-level, game-like competitions in the exhibition season.
I agree. Just following up on that.
Yeah.
And Clark, you guys have great games. We all have great games. We both get lost in the season. It's almost like a drug to you. And one thing about college basketball, every single night it delivers. Every single night. You can turn a game on any day of the week. And all of a sudden you're going to walk away sometime during the course of the night, go, "Phew, man, that was a heck of a game."
Hey, let me ask you guys this. Are you finding that now as they tee it up to start the season, it's not all cupcake games? I mean, you got some big boys playing some big boys to get started to get an idea where the heck you are, right?
I love it. I mean, the exhibition games have served that purpose. Some of the exhibition games I watched were high quality competitive games between power conference
Yeah.
foes. Really good for everybody and great for the game. And then you see it happening right out of the gate. I mean, some of the schedules that these teams have, particularly the power conference teams, non-conference schedules, are universally, I think, as good as we've seen when you start looking at who teams are going to be playing in their non-conference schedule. And I think that serves the players, the coaches, the fans, and the game in a really cool way.
There are a lot of secure coaches out there because they're playing some monster schedules right now. I mean, guys with long-term contracts. We've seen what happened in football with long-term contracts.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, here's the thing. I think what's happening is guys are scheduling good on good.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just the way the games aren't games, they're events. And a lot of these games that are being created, just full disclosure, are NIL games. Where you take two really good opponents, you're finding a destination like Las Vegas, and you're playing these games. You have some marketing opportunities outside of it. So these universities are using these games to supplement the rev share, to supplement the collectives, to supplement the cost of doing business in college athletics today. But we're also seeing guys figure out that SEC, if you just play cupcake, you getting ready for the SEC league play, you're done, because that league is a rock fight every night. The Big 12, the Big 10, the Big East. So you're seeing these coaches, and Kevin Willard told me something this summer. I went to the EYBL, and I've known Kevin and obviously Ralph forever. And he said, I'm going to play as many high, major, big-time games I can play. He said, you know what? Those guaranteed games are throw-up games. Before, and I lived it for 33 years, 22 as a head coach. Before those guaranteed games, you feel like throwing up. I mean, that's why I call them throw-up games. I mean, like, you're sick in your stomach, like, oh, what if we just paid this team, whatever amount of money? So I think coaches are saying, how are we going to get better? How are we going to sharpen the sword? All right. How are we going to get ready for the games that are going to be on the biggest stage? How are we going to get ready for the NCAA tournament, different styles of play? And that's the other thing, Clark. Don't you see a lot of guys playing against teams that play a lot of different styles to get ready for the tournament?
No question about it. And I love the point you bring in the perspective. See, I've never coached, so I've lived in that world from the periphery. I've lived in the playing world, but the coaching world is a different dynamic in terms of all of the things that coaches have to think about and give attention to. So the points you're making from that coaching perspective are really instructive for me as a former player and fan. And you're right. I do believe that more coaches are looking to try to get as much diversity of opponent and quality of opponent for the development of their team. And we know there's 3 seasons. There's the non-conference, the conference, and then ultimately the most scrutinized and the one that everybody's looking for is that postseason action, namely the NCAA tournament. So all you can do to get your team ready for that and that opportunity is part of what we're seeing now.
And with all the movement and guys coming in, I mean, I'm getting ready for some games this week, and guys are playing for the second and third teams. Chemistry obviously is critical. How do you put it all together? And especially like what you guys were just talking about, good on good. And now you're bringing in so many new guys that, for the first time. I mean, how's that work? How do you make that live?
I would defer to Seth on that, coming from the coaching space. I've got my perspective on it too, but I would love to hear what Seth says.
Yeah, I'll tell you the hardest thing is, first of all, the guys have an advantage in that, or like a guy like Chris Beard, who comes from a junior college.
Junior college guys.
From a prep.
Yes, sir.
Guys that have been in places where they rebuild their roster every single year, because that's nothing new to them. All right? They've done that before. Now they have access to the teams in the summer, which is absolutely huge. Here's the problem, and this is the thing concerns me. You bring in 10 players, 11 players in the new world of college athletics, and all those guys coming in are expecting to play. All those guys got paid. All those guys have goals and aspirations. Now, what you've got to do is you've got to say, all right, here's the deal. You earn your playing time, all right? You earn your playing time, but not what we paid you. All right, that's done with. Like, I think if I was coaching today, the first conversation I would have with my team when they came to campus in the summer is, everyone has their deal. I don't want to hear about it. In the end, right, those deals are done. Right. They're history. You're going to get taken care of. You're going to get paid. All right, now you're going to earn your playing time. Now you're going to earn the role that we want you to play. Now you're going to have to champion your role. We're trying to be the best team. You know what? And at the end of the year, we might have some guys that are disappointed. You know what? If you're disappointed, then you can decide to move on. But right now, we're going to sign a contract. We're all in this thing together. And it can't be like, because here's what's going to happen, Clark, and you know this is going to happen. A guy that is making $300,000 is going to beat out a guy that's making $800,000.
Yeah.
Now that coach is saying, wait a second, if I played a guy with $300,000, the guy that gave me the money for $300,000, all right, he's going to go, what the heck? Well, I don't care about that. Because in the end, it's all about winning games. And it's all about getting guys to buy into roles and being
a fight that these guys have to wage. It's going to be difficult. It could be very difficult.
And the last thing, and I'll let Clark kind of follow up as a player, don't be afraid to coach your team. Because I'm mentoring a bunch of young guys, coaches, and they're going, well, if I coach them really hard, if I put demands on them. I said, if you put demands on them, don't put demands on them, they can't help you win. If they want to get better, Clark, you were as good as it gets. You wanted to be coached because you wanted to get better because you wanted to have a career. The best players want to be coached. Yeah. So
that's right.
My message is coach your team, put them in roles, put them in a situation where they can play to their strengths and impact winning. And then you know what? You're going to have some guys that are disappointed.
Sure.
They're still making money.
That's good stuff, Seth. You're still.
Yeah, it really is. And I really think it harkens back to leadership, though. When you're in a position to coach and you're being paid whatever you're being paid, you have a responsibility to produce the best team you can. And you also have a responsibility to be true to yourself, to be true to what your culture is. I know the money can cloud that, but for those who are going to do it at a high level, the money has to be secondary. It's a real part of it. It's a significant part. But hey, if you're not performance, meritocracy still does exist, particularly and maybe most clearly in the world of sports. With all of the other chaos and craziness we have going on in our climate and in our world, when you get between the lines on a field or a court or a track, typically everybody knows who's doing their job. And most notably, the players do.
Yep.
The players know who deserves what they're getting. And if they're not, and if you're going to do it as a coach, then you have to honor rewarding performance, not rewarding the transaction you made, not rewarding what an agent is saying, but you have to reward what is going to help your team win and what you've set the standard to be. Because if you don't, it erodes your credibility quickly.
And it kills your culture.
And it kills, you don't have any culture if that's the case.
Clark, you're only as good as your locker room. And if you don't have the right voice in your locker room, if you don't have accountability in your locker room, if you don't have a standard, if you don't have core beliefs and non-negotiables, it's like parenting. I always tell people, like, coach like parenting, because no means no. When your kid goes to put his hand on the stove, all right, you say no because you love them, all right? So no's got to mean no, and that's just the way it is.
And the other thing, Seth, I would add to that from a parenting standpoint, it was one of my favorite lines. I can't remember where I read it or got it, but fair is not always equal.
Yeah.
Fair is not always equal.
Yeah, unbelievable. And let's switch gears for a second. Talk about top 10. Get your perspective on some of these rankings here. Purdue's number one, best point guard in the country, Braden Smith, steady coaching, Matt Painter. Seth, take a look at Purdue real quick.
I get sabotaged for this. I'm jumping in because we shouldn't have a poll until December. We shouldn't have a poll until after 5 games.
I am with you 100%.
That make it unanimous.
But I understand why we have. But we shouldn't have one until after 5 or 6 games have been played.
Having said that, they have a poll out, so let's deal with it.
I knew you were going to take me back there, but I had to sound off.
I agree, because I'm glad, on the football side, it's the same thing. It's like we start out, it gives you something to scream at. But
hey, he can do that. He's going to have one of those big old shrimps you have at Smith Wolinski's later, so he can do whatever he wants.
Give me your thoughts, Seth, at Purdue.
When I think about Purdue, here's what I think about. Braden Smith is elite. Fletcher Loyer can knock down shots. Trey Kaufman-Wren has terrific footwork. Here's where it gets a little bit, and Matt Painter is a savant. He's a savant offensively and a great coach. And he recruits to his system, he recruits to his program, he recruits to his culture. Can they find a secondary ball handler to complement Braden Smith, whether it's the freshman from Israel, Meyer, whether it's Harris, whether it's Cox? They need a secondary ball handler to complement him. And then the second thing is, I'm of the belief that Trey Kaufman-Renn is better at the 5 than the 4. Now, I'm not in practice every day, and this is one of my pet peeves on what I call gurus. All right? Like, I coached for a long time. Clark, you played at the very, very highest level, and I hope you would agree with this. If you're not in practice every single day, you really don't. You watch your film, you study your film, you speak to the coaches, you speak to people that they play against. But unless you're with that team every single day, you don't know exactly kind of what makes them tick. So, I mean, Matt's going to try to play Trey Kaufman-Renn at 4, all right, and try to, create matchups in that direction. I'm sure they'll downsize and play him at 5 some. But, look, I love their team. I love their culture. They run great stuff. They've got a good roster. I just wonder, I'd like to see a secondary ball handler that can take a little bit of pressure off of Braden Smith.
Clark, let me ask you.
Yeah, no, as well.
In terms of putting the target on their back, how do you see them handling that?
No, I think they'll be fine. Again, Seth touched on it. Matt is elite. His culture is platinum level. They've got kids that understand what it's going to take to win. I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. And quite honestly, one of the things I love about this time of year is that the teams we see now are not the teams we're going to see a month from now, 2 months from now, 4 months from now. And that could go both ways.
Yeah.
Teams that are expected to be really good could head south. Other teams that aren't quite on the radar start to emerge. I mean, Florida did not become the favorite to win it all, at least in my mind, as I listen to people. As I was evaluating teams, they didn't become the favorite in my mind until February.
Wow.
Because I had seen enough of the rest of the landscape, and I saw what they were and could actually go to in another level. They just didn't seem to have any discernible weaknesses. So that can happen as well. Purdue is a legitimate top 10 team. I don't know who I would put number 1 at this point. Somebody's got to be next to those numbers when you got a poll. But I like to group the teams, Dave. But again, to your question, no issues around what the ranking is. That's because of the leadership and the quality of the culture.
We move on to Houston. Kelvin, defensive toughness. My God, it's unbelievable. They get into you all the time. And I've always, watching them the last few years, dude, and I saw Kelvin at a Yankees Astros game. Can you get somebody to shoot? Somebody can knock it down consistently, for crying out loud.
They've got guys that can shoot it now. They've had LJ Cryer last year. They've got Emmanuel Sharp. I haven't seen the new kid, but elite culture. And you think about it, the teams, when you start to look around at the teams that have culture, you take a look at how much retention they have with prior year players. And in this day and age, 2 or 3 is like bringing your starting 5 back. You bring 2 or 3 rotational players or 2 or 3 starters back that have played, that's like having almost your whole team back in some cases because it's so rare now.
Yeah, look, Houston, this is an interesting thing for me because they got Uzan back, who's terrific. They've got Sharp back, who's a big-time shot maker. They've got Jojo Tugler back, who protects them and rebounds. The uniqueness of this thing is going to be that he's going to have 3 freshmen in his rotation.
Yeah.
How quickly they get to understand the culture, the identity, the toughness, the consistency, the intangibles of what makes Houston Houston. They all bought in. I mean, obviously they're there. Senak's a really, really talented 6'10", running, jumping, thin kid, but he's gotten stronger, and Fleming and all the freshmen are really talented. But like when I think of Houston, I think of who are you and how you win. That's how I evaluate every team during the course of the season. What's their identity? Who are they and how do they win? Then can they impose that identity on the game? Because the team that can impose their identity on the game is the team that's going to have an advantage.
All right.
So, look, I think that there's no gray area in Kelvin Sampson. You're all in or you don't have an opportunity to be in.
Yeah.
So my gut feeling is now they don't have the 5 and 6 year experience of the guys that he lost, but those dudes will buy in and be Cougars.
They play hard too.
Right at the lane.
All right, you got Florida. They reload. They got Fland and Lee in the backcourt. You see a repeat for them? Anybody? Either one of you guys?
I think they got a chance. I really do. They've got to develop. I watched that game last night. Love the backcourt ability. I think Boogie Fland's really good. He was actually impressive as a defender last night. Stayed in front of the ball, but they got bullied a little bit as that game went on. They got out physical, but they'll grow into, because those four big guys are really about as good as you can put on the floor. But they got pushed around a little bit, and that was why Arizona prevailed. But I think they will get better. I don't know Todd Golden, but I've really been impressed with what he's done from a distance, and I think that team will grow, and they have a chance. I mean, they're the only chance that has a chance to only team that has a chance to repeat, because they won it last year. But they got a legitimate chance because of the coaching and the personnel they've got.
I know one thing, Clark. The first 10 minutes of that game, I'm going, holy mackerel, these guys are a problem.
Oh, it was impressive. It was impressive. Impressive.
Then all of a sudden, like you said, that Arizona imposted a little physicality on the game. And got into him, pushed him out a little bit, disrupted rhythm, played a little more downhill, a little bit more physical. Yeah, they lost three guys that are playing in the NBA now. They lost three guys that were older, fifth-year, fourth-year guys that made NBA rosters and played their way in because a guy like Elijah Martin, who could defend and compete as a winning player, and Walter Clayton and Will Richardson. Yeah. Those guys are tough dudes. Yeah. Now, look, I love Houck, I love Condon, I love Chinyalu, I love Handlocken, and they're terrific. And Boogie, a New York guy, stepping out of high school, love his game. And Lee has a great feel for the game.
He sure does. He's fun to watch.
Yeah. Right. Do they have a guy that is just going to grab you by the throat and get the stop you need, like the tough, gritty, physical, winning 50-50 ball? We're getting a stop right here. I don't care what's going on. Jaden Bradley, you're not getting in the lane, man. All right, I'm gonna stay between you and the basket, put my chest on you, and keep you out of the lane. Do they have that now? No. But could they have it at the end of the year? Sure, right. Because everyone.
And then the other guy they lost too, Seth, was Denzel Aberdeen.
Yeah. Well, and he would have been the difference in last night's game.
Wow.
Yeah. He would have been. Yes. So exactly. So your point is well made and well taken. Can they establish that? And then the other thing is, you look at the landscape. You always have to evaluate the landscape. Yep. You need those things if you're going to win the championship. Yep. You need sandpaper. You need smoothness. Yeah, you got to have it. There's no denying. And can you develop it enough when you need it? That's TBD. That's TBD.
I'm about to get a look at UConn next week. Roster looks like it's elite again, a talented, big, built for March. And, Danny, I'm sure Danny Hurley's going to be, come on, let's go. We got to get back there. The taste of two back-to-backers. I can only imagine what his practices must be like, Seth. He must be, he's being Danny, I'm sure.
Oh, he's Danny. I go there once a week in the summer. I go there probably preseason. I've been there 4 times already. I get, as I tell those guys, I get my fix. Because I can tell you one thing, he's coaching his team hard every day.
Always.
Look, this is a team. Silas Demery is a huge addition because he's a guy. Look, they struggled in the backcourt last year. They couldn't contain the ball, and they couldn't get in the lane and make plays. They're better at that. Malachi Smith and Demery will handle that. Now they got to get Braylon Mullen back. He had a very good summer. He's the freshman. Just an elite shot maker, long, rangy, solo ball. Every time he shoots, you think it's going out. Alex is ridiculously experienced. Tyrus Reed has missed most of the preseason. And that's hurt him. But they're going to be very good. But, hey, how about their schedule, Clark?
Oh, I know. Yeah, you can look at it in the hand. Pretty much all of the power teams have stacked them with good versus good, as you say. And the one game I watched, Reed and Demery Jr. didn't play, so I'm waiting to see them down the road when they've got their pieces and how that comes together. But they should be right at the top of the Big East, and that means you got a chance to make a deep tournament run.
My first game of the season, calling a game, is going to be Saturday at the Garden, St. John's, Alabama. I know Alabama.
Woo!
But I'm thinking the final of that game is going to be 115-110. I mean,
not a bad can help it.
Athletic, play some great defense at the same time. I mean, Well, Patino's got a lot of pros on that club too.
He does. He does. I just watched them. I watched them last night too. Man, I like their front court. Uh, the kids, Sandon can shoot it. Uh, yeah, they're impressive. It looks like they have a little more offensive
Yep.
firepower from what I've seen. I watched one of their exhibition games and I watched last night. Seems like they've got a little more ammunition, a little
Yeah.
more shot making ability. Yeah,
They don't have a
seem to
point
have
guard,
that.
though.
Yeah, they do lack that. That is
Yeah,
the one
they
thing
like-
that I made
I-
note of too. Yeah,
I
they're trying to
saw
play
them
the
in the
kid
summer.
Mitchell as a. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, I saw him in the summer, and Clark and Rick. Look, if anyone can figure it out, Rick Pitino can.
Yeah,
Right?
he
He
usually
takes his
can,
team
yeah.
and beats you, and he takes your team and beat you.
Yeah,
So, I mean, he's that good. Dylan Mitchell, Bryce Hopkins, and Zuby.
Edge of four.
Those guys are monsters. Now, if they're all on the court together, do they have enough shot making to open up the floor?
Right.
Someone he can flat shoot it. Ian Jackson's better in the open court. I think the kid Darling's going to have to play because you can get him in offense. He's got a lot of different pieces, Rick. They're going to play hard. They're going to be hard to play against. They're going to impose their identity on it. And I think that, Isaiah Sellers, the kid from Stanford, can make shots. They got more guys who can make shots. My only concern is, you like me, Clark, if you have a guy at the end of the game that is going to get you the ball where you want, when you want it, as a coach for me,
that's got to be. That's
2-point guards.
Yeah. A lot of coaches would love to play multiple guards as long as you could match up and be okay defensively. I mean, Larry Brown was a huge proponent of having multiple guards out there because you got decision-making, play-making ability, pressure. I mean, there's just so much. If you have really good size back there with those ingredients, now you can wreak havoc. So we'll see how it plays out. But that's a good point. Who else was lacking? I was talking to King McClure about Baylor, who has tremendous talent. But the concern, too, is the one you just brought up. Is there somebody who could run the show for him, a point guard?
What about
that guy? Yesterday was really good, though. Boy, I watched.
Big time player.
That dude can fly.
Let's move on to Duke. Duke at number 6 coming in, and the second Boozer generation down there. Seth, how do you see that? Cameron Boozer and his brother. How's that looking for the Blue Devils?
I mean, look. I say that Cam Boozer is part Paulo Banchero, part Carlos Boozer. That's what it reminds me of.
Wow. I thought the kid Cole Pete reminded me of Paulo, too.
A little bit. I don't know if he puts it on the floor like Paulo.
Yeah, I couldn't see, but he was getting to his spot, though, with 2 or 3 dribbles in a high-level way, and nobody could bother him when he got his 2 dribbles and got his body into – I mean, it was pretty impressive what he did. But go ahead.
Yeah, Cole Pete was good. Look, I think it's the same thing. I'm not sure at the point guard position. I think Caleb Foster's got to have a good year. It seems like when guys become seniors at Duke and they're point guards, they usually 100% buy into that role.
Yeah.
If they do, Patrick Gongwa is much improved.
Yes, he is.
Isaiah Evans,
I like him.
I had a chance to watch him, is much improved. But all those guys move up in the scout report. I think their best point guard is Caden Boozer, but John Shire, again, 2 practices. John Shire does a great job of teaching those guys how to play. He connects with them. I think the most impressive thing about Duke, besides Duke being Duke, is that Coach K is the patriarch. We understand that. John Shire's taken his personality and basically what Duke stands for, and this is his program now.
Big time.
With the ability to reach back into Coach K. But John Shire's done just a masterful job of coaching this team and representing this team and building this roster and
his recruiting
playing a style
isn't it?
he's totally comfortable with.
Right? His recruiting, Seth, is off the chart. Consistently off the chart.
Yeah.
All right, number 7, Dusty May, Michigan. I'm told he's built a grown man team overnight. You guys buy that?
Yeah, I mean, he's what he did at Florida Atlantic. He's not missed a beat. I mean, he gets audience with high-level players. What he's done with his big guys is always going to give him a chance to have big guys that are skilled mobile, big-time players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way they play too. I mean, they play with a zest and a confidence and a freedom that is hard to replicate.
That's got to
I
be hard
mean,
for you as an
he's
Ohio
the man.
State man saying that about a Michigan team.
I call it as it is, man. I call it as it is. That's part of my job to give credit where it's due. And I love watching them play. I mean, I like the way they play. I think this kid Yaxel Lindenborg is phenomenal, a great addition. I mean, I just think that they're good. They're high level quality, top 10 caliber team, man. And they play the right way. They play hard. They play together.
Man.
Fast.
They they keep it up. Yeah, they keep it up tempo. So yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by their crew.
He's put a really good roster. Boris Johnson, the kid who came over from, I think, Illinois.
Oh,
He's
monster,
a
glass
monster
eater.
inside guy.
Yeah,
Dave Martin's a
extraordinaire.
7-footer from UCLA. Elliot Cadeau can really pass, and not a great, but he, for the speed they play with, I think he's really, really good. Yaxel's terrific. I just think they've got a very, very complete team.
Wow.
I think that's the best way to describe it. I love Roddy Gale. I think he brings some toughness. He and Burnett bring some toughness. But it's the speed
they got all
and
the
the
ingredients,
force.
man.
Yeah, the force they play with.
Want to move on to
You guys will get them a bunch.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit. Yeah.
I want to move on to number 8, BYU. Now, I've been hearing this name, AJ
Dybantsa.
Saw him a little bit of him last night. Holy mackerel. That's
for real. Just put
Yeah.
in bold capital letters the number 4, capital R, capital E, capital A, capital L, multiple exclamation points.
AJ.
I'm going to blow some flowers here because he, people say a little bit of Kawhi Leonard. People say, they make these comparisons. I don't want to say, but back in the day, his game is a little like you there.
Yeah, he can take it off.
His skill set's a little bit like this guy Kellogg. That was pretty good.
Taking rim to rim, right?
Well, I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, but he could do a little bit of everything. And, I love the way he plays. I love his demeanor too. I've watched him a couple of times, and man, very, very impressed by how he plays and how he goes about it. Seems to be fully got both feet anchored where he is right now. He knows what's ahead of him if he stays healthy, but it seems like he's fully. I love the way he passed a few times. I mean, you watching. That's one of the things for me, Seth, when I'm watching players, how they pass.
Yep.
Is really one of the great indicators of feel and understanding. And it's a skill that not all players have. Some players can't see. Some players can't see and get it to where it needs to be. It's a really unique skill. And when big guys have it and touch, pace, the speed of the pass, the touch of it, the time. I mean, that was the one thing when I first saw LeBron. I never saw him in person, but when I watched him on TV, I said, this guy's thinking like 2 frames ahead.
Yeah.
He's like 2 frames ahead of the game. That's ridiculous stuff.
And especially for
And he's
a front
efficient.
guy, right?
Yeah, he's efficient. He's ridiculously efficient. All these freshmen,
Great point.
These freshmen, whether it's Darryn Peterson, whether it's him, whether it's Koa Pete, you go right down the line of all these great freshmen. And the thing that jumps out at me is they don't chase anything. They make the right play. And he's on a team with Richie Saunders, who's an all-conference player. He's on a team with Rob Wright, who was at Baylor, who's an elite point guard. Cuba Cada. They've got a good team. But like last night, I watched that over again this morning. I watched last night. He just made the right play.
Yeah.
And that's really impressive for a guy that hyped up.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
Number 9, 100%. Kentucky, and the consistency of some of these schools being in the top 10, top 15 every year. I mean, you can pretty much write it in concrete. But you guys have seen Kentucky through just about every era. Biggest cultural shift, would you say, under Mark Pope compared to the Calipari years?
Go ahead, Clark.
Wow. Man, I tell you, one, they've not been healthy. We need to see all of their pieces together. But I think, you think about Calipari and how he was able to leverage and optimize one-and-done players. I mean, I don't know if anybody else could have done it the way Cal did it for as long as he did. That is so hard. it was so hard in an atmosphere that wasn't this. It was he was on an island really doing that, turnover every year and getting teams that were championship caliber. I think it's one of the remarkable, understated aspects of Cal's coaching journey, the way he was able to do that, because that was really hard. The shift has only been, I think, just slightly in style of play.
Yep.
In terms of the up-tempo, the attacking, the utilization of the three, that to me has probably been the one mile here. And Mark Pope has a reputation and a connection with his players that is really inspirational. I mean, you just see how those guys get after it for him and how he goes about developing them. I think that was a great landing spot for him and a tremendous get for Kentucky. I mean, he understands it, he knows it, he's lived it, he's excelled in it, and now he's doing it with excellent talent and doing it the way that he'd like to do it. So they're right in the mix and a legitimate. When they're healthy, I think they'll be a top 10 caliber team for sure.
Without a doubt. Look, everyone coaches in their own personality. And like John Calipari coached a certain way. Now they played fast. They just didn't choose.
Yeah, they did.
And those he got all these guys, as he used to say, everyone must eat. I mean, like he got those guys to share the ball, play for each other.
Yes.
Yes. And Mark's done the same thing. Different style, a lot more zoom action, a lot more 5 out. The game is different today than it was when Cal was doing as one and dones. Like now, everyone's old. Get old and stay old. Cal was playing against get old and stay old and he was young, but I think Mark's a terrific coach. He's got incredible and infectious personality. The guy almost pisses me off because it seems like he never has a bad day. I mean, we all have a bad day. So Mark, I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Come on.
It's all in how you look. It's all in how you look at it.
Say you're not doing so well. You know what I mean? But he's a really good offensive coach.
Yeah.
They've got to defend consistently. They got to be better defensively. Oweh and the key, I'm telling you, I'm going to give you the key player in their team, Mohamed Dybantsa, transfer from Alabama.
Yeah.
He will be the key because he is a dog.
Yeah.
He is a flat-out, get every 50-50 ball, get deflections, rebound the ball in traffic. So you got two dogs in him and Oweh. And if Jaden Quintus comes back and he's healthy and gives him rim protection and lob threat with the other players they have around him, they're going to be really, really good. But Mohamed Dybantsa, one of my favorite players this season, and it has more to do with I'd want to coach him because every intangible you're looking for in a player, he's going to give you every single night.
Yeah. Hey, lastly, on the top 10, Texas Tech. And let's see, JT Toppin, headlines of roster. People think it's overranked by analytics. What do you guys
Christian Anderson is a really up. I think Christian Anderson is going to blow up. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. And then they've got nice complementary pieces. And Grant McCaslin, I spent some time with him for a little feature we're doing later in the year on him. He's a wonderful guy and a terrific coach. I wish I could have loitered and caught a practice, but he's about all the right stuff, and he's got a really good roster. And he's excited about his team's chances to make another deep run.
He will coach his dudes hard now. You would love
Oh, yeah.
Hey, remember this name now. Lawan Watts, transferred.
Oh, I love him. He's a stat sheet stuffer, man. That dude does everything.
You're right about that. He is a stat sheet stuffer.
Yeah, man. He's a stat sheet stuffer supreme. He might even get the extra S in my book. You know?
He's a hard playing.
Yes, he is.
Player. Yeah, their team plays hard. And early
on we were talking about some of the great matchups, early season matchups. Duke, Kansas, BYU, Connecticut. I'd be curious what you guys think of those two matchups. You got Houston, Tennessee, Purdue, Auburn.
Sure, we got Duke. We've got Duke in Texas tonight, don't we?
Yeah, we do for the Dickie V Invitational.
Yeah, yeah, man. Any of those days that you mentioned. I mean, anytime you're looking at BYU, not just because of AJ Dybantsa, not just because of him, but that's a really good basketball team. I mean, they got some other potential pros in that game. And that's the other thing. I mean, one of the ways I kind of look at it at times is how many potential pros are in the game. And when you talk about those kind of matchups, you've got multiple potential pros playing against each other. and that's always typically makes for kind of must-watch TV.
You know the great thing about having all these networks involved, and Clark, you'll agree with it, is that they all want their piece of the pie, so they're all creating these events.
Yeah, no, it helps.
Like, we got Coach Vite. Like, I think it's great that ESPN is honoring Coach Vitale with the Dick Vitale Invitational.
Yeah, agreed.
I think
No
that's
doubt.
a really cool thing to think about what he's meant to college basketball.
Right.
But I mean, you guys have great events, and Fox Society. I mean, we have more ways to put together great lineups because we have more windows. So you guys have certain windows, and Fox will have certain windows, and whomever else is putting these games on. And all that's doing to me, especially in November and December, it's so important, is that we're growing the game to a 12-month sport.
Here, no doubt about it.
We can't be, let's wait for the tournament. No, we have great teams and great players and great events right to start throughout the season, and we've got to get people tuned in to our game when that ball goes up, not when the college football playoffs is over, not when then we're going to reboot when the Super Bowl is over, but we've got to get people to be locked in now, and having all these different entities putting together these great games is great for our game.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Closing segment here, predictions.
No.
Let's be daring. Let's get on the record. Final four. Give me your final four.
Dave, I will not even venture to attempt that. I won't even venture to attempt that.
Okay.
And you know what? I have always, even though I'm a little older than him, I've always looked up to Clark Kellogg. So if Clark Kellogg says he hasn't mentioned anything, he's not buying, I'm with him. Because in the end, as my good friend Jay Williams tells me all the time, Greeny, it's all in the bracket. I can't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Until I see the bracket.
There you go.
Yeah, that's true. Well, how about this? This might be a little bit easier. How about Player of the Year? Who are you looking at Player of the Year?
Whoa, that's no easier.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. But I don't even start to think about that stuff until we've had some time to evaluate. Then I start kind of charting. But I wouldn't even venture to say who that might be. I think you've got probably 10, 12 candidates, legitimate candidates. Maybe 6 to 8. 6 to 8, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you know what? And you have a group of freshmen that are going to be in that conversation.
That's right.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, yeah. All right, last opportunity here. Hot take. Got a hot take you want to throw out there?
A hot take? Oh, man. Well, it's a general hot take.
That's good.
Yeah, this is a general hot take. This will be one of the outstanding freshman classes in the history of college basketball in terms of how they perform. I don't think there's going to be any question about that. But there's going to be a Louisville that went from 4 wins to 27. There's going to be a team of that ilk. I just don't know who it's going to be. There's going to be a team like that. Give me 1 second here, and I'll tell you which conference I think it'll happen. I'm going to say ACC.
You know what? I'm not going to disagree. I think Virginia has a breakout year. I think they could be really good. I think NC State. I think the ACC makes a comeback this year. They're not going to be what the SEC was last year, and they're not even probably going to be what the Big 12 is this year. But the ACC, and I always say investment equals expectation. There's a cost of doing business in college athletics today. And the ACC was well behind the curve. So, to me, if you don't give the coaches resources, and I'll use an example of, actually I won't, but if you don't give coaches resources, then you have no chance to compete with the best teams in the country. If you give coaches resources, then it's their job to secure the best players that they can get with those resources, put them in positions to be successful. And I think the ACC has done a really, really good job this year of more schools. I'd say there's probably 11 schools that spent over $10 million on their rosters compared to last year where there was probably maybe 2 that spent between 7 and 10. Wow. So I think there's almost 7 that have spent over $10 million. And you know what? When your investment equals your expectation and you have good coaches, you'll see more good teams. And you'll see more teams that have success in November and December, which builds your conference resume, which then enables you to put the 6, 7, and 8, and 9 teams in the tournament. If that makes sense.
Hey, guys.
I do like St. Louis. I think the A-10 could get 3 teams in the tournament this year.
Wow.
Be nice to see. Hey, fellas, really appreciate you jumping on. That was a good, wide open perspective on the top 10 and a lot of other things going on in college hoops. Really appreciate it.
Hey,
Yeah,
Dave, have a nice dinner.
All right. Thank to Clark Kellogg and Seth Greenberg. I'm Dave Sims. This is the Hey Now podcast. We'll see you next time. Hi, everybody. Dave Sims from the Hey Now podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us here on the Hey Now podcast.
Hey.